So the Trump administration, in its zeal for deregulation and helping payday lenders, is now going after a law designed to protect military service members from being cheated by shady lending practices. Now, NPR is reporting that they have obtained documents that show the White House is proposing changes that would limit protections to service members and change rules surrounding something called the Military Lending Act. Now, they explain. The MLA is supposed to protect service members from predatory loans and financial products. Mick Mulvaney, the interim director for the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, basically plans to terminate the supervisory examinations of lenders. So from there, we go to the New York Times, who explains the agency's supervisory exams, which have been critical in uncovering previous instances of wrongdoing and led to several of its biggest fines. That would be eliminated in 2014. To show how much this actually matters, in 2014, the Bureau fined one of the largest payday lenders in the country, Ace Cash Express, $10 million after determining that the company, based in Texas, steered low-income borrowers, including those in the military, into a succession of financially damaging high-interest loans. So, now, of course, again, that's predatory lending. We've seen a lot of that. And the administration has too. The only problem is that they're not doing anything about it. Now, instead of conducting examinations that might find similar patterns, they say, the New York Times reports, the Bureau will now rely solely on complaints funneled through its website, hotlines, the military, and people who believe that they have been victims of abuse. So they're not being proactive, they are being reactive. So you have to go through, you have to file a bunch of paperwork. Well, how do you know you're getting screwed over? Unless there's an investigation. How do you know, you're getting a bad deal from some of these lenders or a super high interest rate? Unless there's an investigation into it, unless you know that there's an even playing field. And a lot of these, I should say all of these, predatory lenders play off people who, it's not that they're not smart, it's just they're not well read, and that these financial products, as they call them, are actually incredibly complicated. And they're complicated on purpose in order to trap people into these kinds of loans, right? So now they talk about predatory financial products, right? Payday lenders are obviously one of them, but there's also other ways that they scam people that are also pretty nefarious and very hard to track down, just to show you why these examinations are actually very necessary. Now, one example of that is something called gap insurance. Now, NPR explains, back to them, cars lose value, some of their value the moment that they're driven off the lot. Now, I know that. I just bought myself a new used car. So I know that when you buy a new car, and everybody kind of knows the adage, like, yeah, that loses half its value as soon as you drive it off the lot. Right, okay. Now, dealers apparently have been telling customers, some of them anyway, that if their car gets wrecked in a car crash, they could be financially harmed because regular insurance may not pay out the entire amount owed on the loan. Now, this apparently is something that some car dealerships push really hard to get this gap insurance. I mean, we don't want anything to happen to your investment. And to be fair, where I got my car, they didn't mention anything about this because where I actually got my car, and I'm not going to name drop or anything like that, but they were actually really good people and explained things very well. So, and didn't try to push this kind of gap insurance on me. But if you're low income, or if you're, somebody from a difficult neighborhood, or even, like I said, they target service members, well, some of these salesmen might try to push this gap insurance. Now, that kind of insurance is offered by insurance companies and actually is relatively inexpensive. In fact, $20 to $30 a year. And you can get it from, your local car insurance company that you already do business with, right? So then if it's cheap, then what's the actual issue of the dealership pushing this insurance? Well, it turns out that the dealerships oftentimes mark up the price. A law professor at the University of Utah who reviewed these documents is, named Christopher Peterson, and he told NPR that he has seen gap insurance policies being sold for $1,500 over the course of the loan. Now, that's a huge markup, and what that does is that a lot of that goes into the dealer's pocket. That's disastrous. That's the rules. That's why we put up rules, right? Now, the rules to protect service members effectively block auto dealers from doing that, from tacking on an extra product, such as overpriced gap insurance and rolling into the car loans. That's what these rules do. They're eliminating these rules. The industry has been lobbying very furiously to roll those rules back, and guess what? The White House appears to be giving them exactly what they want. Is that any surprise? The administration had just sent the latest version of a proposal to the Defense Department, and documents show that it would give car dealers exactly what they're looking for, exactly what they lobbied for. No! The government favoring corporations over people? But corporations are a special kind of people who are apparently better than everyone else and deserve special breaks. Now, Peterson says the revised rules could also allow dealers to roll in not just gap insurance, but all kinds of other add-on products into the loans. And if you're not aware at how predatory these can be, well then that ends up costing you money out of your pocket. Now, not only that, but the changes would also weaken the enforcement of the Military Lending Act. And under Mulvaney, who's acting director of the CFPB, the Bureau is planning to halt regular monitoring of payday lenders and other firms to see whether they are violating the act and cheating military personnel. So basically, it kind of boils down to this. When given the choice to support the troops or support their donors, who do they choose? They choose the donors. Mick Mulvaney has taken tons of money from payday lenders, from these financial services, from the financial services industry. And of course, in return, he has helped payday lenders by eliminating regulations and eliminating oversight to make sure that they can continue to do these predatory loans. Look, what happened here is basically they've taken the cops off the street. There's nobody guarding the hen house anymore. You have the foxes in charge now. The Republicans who support this, people like Mick Mulvaney, they can't say that they support the troops. You're not supporting the troops when you remove rules meant to protect them from predatory lenders. But that was the whole point. The whole point of these rules. And look, let me go to a section from the New York Times story on this. Over the last decade, to show you how important these rules actually were, the Defense Department had did studies that have found that military and their members, their families and veterans are 4 times as likely to be targeted by unscrupulous lenders. That's the reason they have these rules. They also found, the studies, interestingly enough, that money woes are a significant source of morale problems among service members. So you get into these predatory loans. And look, a lot of the people that go into the military are 18, 19 years old, right? They're young people. They haven't had credit before. And it's so easy to entrap them in these loans. And so creating these money problems, it's basically the return of loan sharking. Only this time, it's legal. Some of these payday lenders charge over 300% interest on their short-term loans. And they're doing it now to the military members as well. Now look, here's the thing. We have military members right now who are on food stamps, who are on government assistance while they're serving, while they're active duty. But wait, we give over $700 billion to the military. Where's that money go? Where's that money going? Oh, well, it's not going to the troops. I think an average, E1 makes $19,000 a year. That's terrible. So where does that money go? Where does all that money go? Into the pockets of the defense contractors. Our military is right now a wasteful bureaucracy. And what? And Trump wants to talk about Space Force? You don't want to talk about Space Force? No. Look, if that's not bad enough now, here you have the administration now wanting payday lenders to be able to prey on those same service members who are not getting paid what they deserve. Hey everybody, thanks for watching this video. If you want to see more like this, please hit the subscribe button below. And if you want to support truly independent progressive media, please consider becoming a patron at patreon.com/TYTNation.